Thanks for staying with us. Joining us in the studio is to discuss the state of the Nigeria's oil and gas sector. He's an oil and gas expert, a senior technical advisor to the Minister of State for Energy and Gas during President Umaru Yar'Adua's administration, Mr. Dayo Kunle. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you. Compliment of the season.
Yes. Yes. Which season again? Love season?
Because we're both. Both.
So we wanted to, in the last few weeks, there's been a lot of back and forth concerning issues of Dangote refinery, the issues of Ipman, other marketers refusing to buy, and the issue, all the thorny issues. And recently, many Nigerians had celebrated the fact that Dangote also was, Saudi Arabia recently purchased jet fuel from Dangote, which was a huge gain on our part. I wanted you to give us an understanding of what is going on, because we've heard different sides. Nigerians are not very clear. Who exactly is selling to us? Who is the, because we're anticipating that made in Nigeria will be better. But suddenly we're still hearing different stories of people still importing, you know, it's expensive to buy in Nigeria. Give us in your own understanding where we are as a nation when it comes to this issue of fuel.
Thank you very much, Morayo. Thank you, Nima. And thank you, Mariam. And thank you, Toke. It's great to be here. I'm privileged to have been contacted to appear here. Incidentally, I came into Lagos for a program, for a meeting, and they said I should come here. Your studio is beautiful.
Thank you.
Job well done.
Job
well done. Thank you. The conversation on our hydrocarbon industry in Nigeria will continue to be like this for some time, but we hope our President Tinubu will be able to balance out and align the industry appropriately. You know, the hydrocarbon industry is divided into 3 segments.
Okay.
So some of you, it's good you understand. We have what we call upstream. Upstream means where the oil comes out, the crude oil and the gas. That's upstream. At that segment, you have to invest a lot of money in what we call exploration and search for where oil reserve and gas reserve are available. Then you have to invest money to drill, to bring it out.
Yes.
When you bring it out, you need facilities to handle it, pipes, tankerage, and so on and so forth. When you bring it out, you have to move it to somewhere to process, either to export or to refine it. That level is called midstream. You have brought it out from the
ground.
Yes. So that midstream is called refinery, crude refinery, or gas refinery. Gas refinery means where you process gas, like LNG. It's a gas refinery. You are going to separate all the waters, separate all the sand, separate all the liquids like condensate, like propane, butane. You are going to separate all this to get what we call bone gas. Bone gas means dry gas, very lean, that can travel at a speed you cannot believe. Boom! So now, this refinery, this midstream segment, now bring out products, either petrol, either propane, either cooking gas, anything from the refinery comes out to the market, AGO, naphtha, anything you can think of, now, and goes to tanks, farms again. Because you cannot take it direct from refinery to petrol station across the country at the same time. So you need a holding stockpile somewhere before it can again be transported. Now, the problem of Nigeria is that these 3 vertical arrangement was originally, as NEPA was originally with NNPC.
Yes.
So NNPC was the one in upstream, midstream, and downstream. So the industry is in transition since the day Nigeria government started privatizing all the retail outlets. If you remember National Oil, which is now called Consolidated Oil. If you remember Unipetrol, which is now Oando. If you remember AP, which is now, they have a new name now called from AP it went to 40. From 40 it's back to something again. So now that effort of government to transit out of this vertical monopoly from NNPC that was in upstream, midstream, downstream, which was as technology was developing.
Right.
Nigeria, developing nations, did not move rapidly to be efficient in deploying all the 4 factors of production. So NNPC was becoming a place that money were being lost every day in the downstream and midstream. They make big money upstream, where the big boys were playing, the international oil companies. They produce because they have huge capital to deploy technology. So when they produce, Nigeria take her 55 or 60% and waste it in the midstream, downstream, because we are grossly inefficient as a nation. We are inefficient in managing anything at our disposal. Even the soil that is very fertile, we cannot even grow food to feed ourselves. So now to go back to the question. So this transition effort since 1989, when Babangida introduced TCPC, Technical Committee on Privatization and Commercialization, to try to start exiting government hand from some of these economic enterprises that private sector will have done better by efficiently managing all the 4 factors of production for optimization and resource redistribution. Because when resources is concentrated too much in the hand of government-owned enterprises, what you get is too much discretionary power. That is why everybody wants to be GMD of NNPC. Because there is too much discretionary power. It can just make you billionaire in a day. That is the...
Because
so
of
now
time.
to go back, because of time factor. So to go back, it is this transition and the management of the transition from upstream to midstream to downstream to exit government hand from midstream and downstream to private. It is that transition that we're having big problem with now, because the commanding height that used to enjoy the privileges and those discretionary power in the upstream and midstream and downstream don't want to let go. Because they have been benefiting, and their percentage are not good enough to create what we call critical mass impact on 200 million people.
So
this is why we are stranded.
Let me come in with a question, sir. That I love the way you explained what you did. It's very detailed and extremely informative. But there's a Dangote has come in, and Dangote's entrance into the oil sector was heralded as this huge achievement that is going to be extremely beneficial to Nigerians. And yet, immediately the oil started flowing, there's been one back and forth between NNPC, back and forth between marketers, back and forth between independent marketers, major marketers. No, we are going to import. Now we are now producing in Port Harcourt and all of that. It seems like we're not really happy about the Dangote, and it's like Dangote is not even solving our problem. Please, can you help us in a short way understand the challenge with Dangote, and if Dangote should actually bring us opportunity, or it is actually not working for us?
Thank you very much. Dangote refinery is what you can call the 8 wonders of the world. You need to visit that place. You are based in Lagos. I was there about 12 days ago. And you will just wonder that if that type of massive investment could ever happen in a place like this. So what happened is that his intervention came suddenly. Dayo Kunle, 10 years ago, when this matter was going on, that he will build his own refinery. Our skepticism that time was that the international oil companies, if they are not involved, maybe they will sabotage it. But the guy stubbornly went ahead to do it. It was such massive. So that scale he brought to the Nigerian midstream, downstream investment has disrupted the industry, the midstream, downstream. The midstream, downstream in Nigeria has been disrupted by Dangote refinery because of the mere capacity and the strategic location by the Atlantic Ocean. So he has put Nigeria on the map. The S&P Global Insights of New York said his coming to the market has disrupted even the European refinery industry. So if Nigeria are not yet feeling the impact, is because the commanding heights that are resisting the transition are still having advantage with the current status of NNPC to import. Because when you import low-grade petroleum products, the price will look
lower,
cheap.
yeah.
But in actual sense, in environmental science, you are importing poison.
Yes.
Because today, the quality of air you breathe in Lagos is very heavy, laden with sulfur and carbon. Not only Lagos, including Kano, including Ibadan, the heavy cities. So all the tippers, all the kenapep, what they are dishing out is incredible. So what I think is happening now is that the time it will take for Dangote refinery to take over the midstream, downstream, this transition period may be up to 4 or 5 months. Because the grade of the product is producing is the highest in the world. That is why you see Aramco buying. That means Nigeria has come on the global map in the energy balance.
Let me pause you for a second. This is I really want to unpack this properly. Let me go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We still have our guest here, Mr. Dayo Kunle. Mariam had a question.
Yes, some of the things that we had heard about the Dangote refinery as it came on, that I would like for you to either just shed light on. So one of the things is he's been accused of monopoly and getting indiscriminate favor from different administrations, and that is why he's able to do this. And in such a way, describe it like in such a way that he's stopping other people from doing this business or any other business that he's been involved in, but in particular this particular refining business. And would like to know, but because you had described that he made such a huge investment in this market, is it something he did because government gave him that
blank check,
that favor, something like that? Let's put it that way. Then the second one for me is, then he comes on board and he's supposed to be able to meet our demands. And the next thing we're hearing, supply is not good there. He's a businessman. He will sell only to countries that are able to pay his prices. If Nigeria is not able to pay, he will not pay. We had conversations of NNPC saying there was a particular price. Dangote coming out to say, no, this is a different price. So for me, these are questions I had from the very beginning that, had gotten me concerned. The final one, third one, which is what you had mentioned earlier, sulfur-laden products, the impact it has on our health. Like all these years, we have had this sort of product that we are importing into our country and selling to Nigerians. And why is it just coming out now? Why are we just only hearing about it? So is this also not a business move on Dangote's side to maybe discriminate other players?
Thank you. Thank you very much. They are all interrelated questions. The word monopoly is a very wrong narrative in this situation. Because if there were no refinery at all in Nigeria, either owned by government or those small mini refinery owned by some private, it would have been a different ballgame. That means he's the only one who built a refinery in Nigeria. But in this case, government-owned refineries have been in existence. And they were working epileptically. They were poorly managed by government fingers that were in charge. Those fingers I call the leprosy fingers of government, who never get anything good done. Except LLNG that was 51% owned by international oil companies. Nigeria owned 49%. It's a success story because the international oil company owned 51%. They control technical, finance, and management. So it works. It's a fortune. Even though now it's a little bit in a misfortune. So Dangote is not a monopolist. Let's remove that one. His refinery brought scale into the market. Huge scale. So economy of scale has crystallized now. He can meet the local demand and our regional demand. Regional demand means within ECOWAS, Sub-Saharan Africa. That's the capacity there today. So that is about that one. The other issue that maybe the imported items are laden with sulfur. And why are we consciously now aware? Okay, good. Why are you consciously now aware of the quality of food you need to eat? In the past, you and me, we were after quantity. You were not quality conscious. Your living environment, your sanitation, everything in the past was not too much of a concern to you. Today, the amount of garbage you see in Oregon that are smelling, gushing out methane, it's worrying you. You are now environmentally conscious because the global environment, knowledge, education, exposure, telecommunication like TVC, you are dishing out knowledge every day. So people are becoming more conscious of their lifestyle and what they must do to sustain quality life. So if I'm to breathe quality air, good oxygen for my lung to perform well and for longevity, then it means I have to be conscious of the type of fuel I am consuming, because the developed world that are scientifically minded are saying this fuel is not good, it's low grade. Dump it somewhere else in the world where there are mining activities for the bulldozers and the payloaders to dish it out in the wilderness. Like in the Western Australia, like in the jungle of Congo. But we are now saying in the city of Lagos and Kano and Ibadan, why should you be dumping bad fuel for my timid young population that I need to grow my economy? You are giving them poison every day. This is the issue. So if Dangote is refining high quality petrol, then government and the Ministry of Environment should be happy. The Midstream Regulatory Authority should show us their own laboratory where they analyze the government-owned refineries output and where they analyze the imported petroleum products so that we see comparatively what is coming out.
Okay.
So that is about that issue. And the level of consciousness has become very, very, very high. So, yeah.
With
So
what you just said,
yeah.
I'm wondering what the
Liban.
DPR, that's a, what's it called?
Department of Petroleum.
No, they have a new name now.
Yeah,
NMPDR.
NMPDR.
Yeah. So what they've been doing all these years, because that's their business, I think. Also, Dangote's pricing, can it in any way at all be made more favorable to the Nigerian populace? We have the numbers. That's why OPEC is looking this way. That's why all the international oil companies are envious of Dangote. Can it in any way favor locally, favor us here? That's two. The third one, how ecstatic are you about Boa Group, finishing their own refinery?
Madam, the last question is very simple. It's good that Boa come to market. Very simple. Let Boa come to the marketplace. See, the population of the world is 8 billion. About that now. Okay, so Africa may be about 1 billion. So if Dangote cannot meet the market of Nigeria and regional, and Boa comes, so there's space. Madam, the more the merrier. let him come. If people can project their business vision and say, oh, there is still market to be catched in the next 5 to 10 years before we transit to clean energy, let them rush into that space so that even the word monopoly will now disappear. It will now become maybe oligopolies or duopoly, whichever structure that may emerge from the marketplace. So that is about that one. The other issue about price stability, whether price can come down or not, madam, it's going to be a factor of so many things. Interest rate in your country, because the cost of borrowing, the cost of money. Then where is the excess capacity of crude supply in your country? Crude production and supply. If you have excess crude to feed into that refinery, the price may be reasonable. But if you have scarcity of crude to feed into that refinery, it means the average cost of that crude per barrel may be very high. So like now he's importing. Can you imagine? He's importing because our country is doing only maybe 1.6 million barrels per day. And that 1.6 million barrels is not owned by us. The international oil company own a percentage of it. So what NNPC get may just be only 40 or 45% of it. So they have already committed it. So the cost input of the crude into the refinery will also determine his marginal cost to lead to average cost per liter. I hope you understand now. Yes. So that's what we should be expecting, madam. Not every time Nigerians, the populace are looking after how price can come down. Nigerians should be after how stable can price be so that I can plan my activities around my income. So that even wages itself should be tied to the stability of food prices and basic things.
Yeah.
You understand me now? So that wages earner can afford to live averagely. So, but to be dreaming that price can just come down like that, it will not happen, madam. We deceive ourselves. See electricity, has it come down? It will not come down.
It's not.
Food prices should be what should be worrying us.
Okay.
And basic
but
health.
The price of fuel always trickles to food and every other price. Transportation.
I agree, because we are in one part of the world that it is a deriving force.
Okay.
You understand now? A lot of things derives from what propels it, and what propels this economy today is petrol because of mobility. I hope you understand now. So to a large extent, it will remain a factor. But when we build up the economy, a more robust, agriculturally based economy, productive economy, people will stop talking less about the price of petrol. They will just see it as part of the regular life they have to live with.
We have to go, because we just have a minute left. But to round it up, could you tell us futuristically? I mean, we talked about BUA hopefully coming into the play. There are a few other Nigerians who are modular refineries.
Even the Port Harcourt and Kaduna.
So how would all this play out? Because at the end of the day, the cost, Nigerians are saying that if more players come in, hopefully that should reduce the cost or something.
The mini refineries that you people call modular refinery, they are actually just like small toys.
Wow.
They are very small. They have very marginal impact on what we are talking about.
Wow.
Very small. Not even up to 10% impact.
Wow.
Because 5,000 barrels per day refinery, mini refinery. What is the impact of 5,000 barrels?
That's tiny.
In a country like this that Gulf may be about 35 million liters per day. 5,000, it does not even produce PMS. It produces diesel and some byproducts. So to go, the people who wants to come in, madam, they can I will advise them to put pressure on President Tinubu to liquidate the 3 own refineries. Let them buy it and invest their money in upgrading those refineries if possible, rather than them going to invest money in new refinery. It's a long journey. If they don't know, they should come and ask us who knows about process engineering. It's a long journey to build a refinery of economic size, not toys. I hope you understand.
They said those old refineries are obsolete. They will be like
if they were allowed to have gone to Dangote Group in 2007, as it was arranged, they would have upgraded them and transformed them to world-class refineries. But it's late now. Yeah. So the new investors should look in the direction of President Tinubu and say, Oga, please, liquidate this refinery, we buy it and put our money to upgrade it. Because even the space for fossil fuel is not more than 10, 15 years. But I appreciate coming.
Thank you so much.
We have to bring you back. We have to bring you back. We'll be speaking with Mr. Dayo Kunle. He is a technical advisor to many conversations on business issues of oil and gas. And we thank you very much, sir, for being here. That's all we can take on today's show. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.